Welcome everyone to The Explainer. Today we're doing a total architectural teardown of a seriously successful content format. We are looking right at the blueprint behind those wildly popular longevity and elderly health channels. You know the ones, right? You click on a video about some completely normal food and suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you're literally questioning every single choice you've made in your fridge. Well, you've experienced this exact formula in action. Today we're going to break down exactly how they do it, step by step, uncovering the underlying psychology that makes it so incredibly addictive.
Here is our roadmap for today's masterclass. We've got 5 key areas. First, the curiosity gap. Second, hooking the audience. Third, the script blueprint. Fourth, playing the accessible expert. And lastly, replicating the formula. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The Curiosity Gap. Crafting irresistible titles.
So everything starts before you even begin consuming the content. Our source material reveals this highly specific, basically foolproof equation used to trigger immediate curiosity. It's the curiosity gap formula, and it's super simple. You take an everyday action or habit, you add a frequency, and then you combine it with an extreme result or outcome. Why does this work like magic? Well, it anchors a really mundane everyday action to a concrete timeline and then promises a massive, outsized reward, or a really scary consequence. It takes the mundane and makes it feel incredibly urgent. And this right here brilliantly illustrates the formula in action. What happens if you eat 4 eggs every day? Shocking results. Notice the pieces of the puzzle here. The habit, eating eggs. The frequency, 4 every day. The extreme outcome, it's framed as a question with the absolute power word, shocking. I mean, have you ever clicked on something exactly like this? For sure. It hooks you instantly because it challenges something you probably do all the time, making you think, wait a minute, am I doing this right or am I totally messing up?
Moving on to part 2. Hooking the audience, the first 30 seconds.
Okay, so getting the click is honestly only half the battle. Keeping them watching is where the real heavy lifting happens. The source describes this as the direct challenge hook. In those critical first 30 seconds, you've got to hit the viewer's fears and curiosity completely head on. You do this through rapid-fire questions to immediately set the stakes. Then, you promise to debunk a myth. You frame the topic as misunderstood, which makes the viewer feel like they're being let in on this huge exclusive secret. And finally, the teaser. You explicitly promise that the final few benefits are things almost nobody talks about, which is a huge incentive for them to stick around to the very end.
To give you a feel for what setting the stakes actually looks like, look at this massive contrast. The rapid-fire questions ask, would your cholesterol skyrocket, or could it actually transform your body? By setting up this wild juxtaposition right out of the gate, the stakes become incredibly clear and deeply personal. It speaks directly to a person's deepest health anxieties and their highest health hopes, all at the exact same time.
Part 3. The Script Blueprint. The 6-part meat.
Once they're hooked, the blueprint relies on a really strict, logical progression. It's a 6-part core that smoothly glides the viewer from fear reduction straight into scientific benefit stacking. The steps go like this. Number 1, address the elephant in the room. 2, establish the biological edge. 3, show comparative benefits. 4, break down targeted benefits. 5, offer quality tiers. And 6, wrap it up with a call to action. Let's crack open exactly how each of these gears turns.
Steps 1 and 2 are absolutely crucial. You have to tackle the biggest negative association right away. For eggs, the glaring elephant in the room is the fear of cholesterol. By taking a second to explain how the liver and HDL versus LDL actually function, you completely disarm the viewer's skepticism. And right when that fear evaporates, bam, you strike with the biological edge, explaining why the food is so unique, like saying eggs have the highest biological value. This totally elevates the topic from a simple diet tip to foundational, vital knowledge.
Next up, comparative benefits. You don't just say a food is good. You have to contrast it. You compare the healthy habit against a super common unhealthy one. For example, pitting an egg breakfast against sugary cereal or toast. This perfectly paints the picture of slow burn energy versus that terrible quick crash we all know, giving the viewer a highly relatable, everyday scenario to really latch onto.
Then we dive into the highly specific, targeted body benefits. Now this isn't just fluffy general health advice. It links exact nutrients to the organs that an older demographic truly cares about. For muscles, it's leucine for repair. For the brain, it's choline and phospholipids for memory. For the eyes, it's lutein and zeaxanthin acting as, and I actually love this metaphor, internal sunglasses. Breaking it down organ by organ makes the scientific data feel incredibly personalized and valuable.
Step 5 is where you deliver immense practical value, the quality tiers.
Providing a simple good, better, best breakdown, like caged versus cage-free versus pasture-raised eggs, gives the viewer incredibly actionable, immediate advice for their next grocery run. Finally, step 6 is just a solid call to action, summarizing everything and inviting them to subscribe for more deep dives. It ties the whole package together perfectly.
All right, part 4, the accessible expert, tone and trust.
You know, you can have the most perfect blueprint in the world, but if your tone is off, the audience is gone. You need to become what they call the accessible expert. While it's great to use real scientific terms like biological value or phospholipids, you have to translate them immediately. Think about specific phrases like calling an egg a starter kit for life or comparing complex nutrients to bricks and mortar. This takes intimidating science and simplifies it into everyday, tangible concepts that literally anyone can grasp.
On top of that, building real trust with an elderly demographic requires a deeply reassuring and empathetic tone. You want to heavily lean on phrases like "don't worry" and "your body is smart." It builds this great sense of calm. But most importantly, frame the benefits around their ultimate goals. The focus shouldn't just be on getting a six-pack. It needs to be about staying independent and protecting your mind as you age. That is the stuff that truly resonates.
Finally, part 5, replicating the formula, the masterclass summary.
Let's pull the whole shebang together. Here are the absolute must-haves for replicating this blueprint. Think of this as your ultimate takeaway checklist. First, keep your focus laser-targeted on longevity-based health topics. Second, craft titles that promise shocking discoveries about super common things. Third, structure your narrative to move seamlessly from fear reduction directly into scientific benefit stacking. And finally, always end with an actionable quality guide so your audience can actually use the advice.
We've seen exactly how this blueprint works to captivate, educate, and keep an audience glued to the screen. So I'm leaving you with this question. How are you going to apply these longevity-based, fear reduction techniques to completely transform your next project? Take this formula, put it to the test, and just watch how it elevates your ability to share complex information clearly. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.